Welcome to Real Talk with Reginald D. I'm your host, Reginald D. On today's episode, I have Tonya Lowe, better known as T.I. Tonya is a best-selling author and a fearless storyteller who dives into life's hardest topics: mental illness, addiction, grief, and redemption, while grounding them in faith, humanity, and hope. Welcome to the show, T.I.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
So, tell us a little bit about your childhood and where you grew up.
My childhood. So I am from a little tiny town called Lowe, South Carolina. And I tell people Lowe and they're like, they have never heard of that. So I always say it's near Myrtle Beach, it's inland of Myrtle Beach. And so my childhood was surrounded by farmland and it was a quiet childhood. Yeah. And funny enough, I still live there. I'm still in Lowe, South Carolina. I'm a country girl at heart. And I know you can't tell by my accent.
Yeah, they can't tell by mine either, right? We both from South Carolina. So
I know. What accent, right?
I know it, right? So, T.I., your upcoming book, South of Somewhere, tackles addiction, recovery, shame, and redemption.
hmm
Can you tell us about your book and why you wrote it?
Yeah, it's called South of Somewhere. And have you ever, you don't have to answer it, but it's just in general, have you ever just felt like you've been south of where you need to be in life? And so that's where the title comes from, South of Somewhere. And the young lady, Junie, she is found herself that she is south of where she needs to be in life. My family has personally been affected by a loved one that battled drug addiction. And there's been, a long line of history of alcoholism in my family. And I think about, they're all good people in my family. They had their rough edges or whatnot, but they had their struggles, and it was with alcohol or drugs or whatnot. And I just wanted to. Sometimes there's something I want to understand better, and I'll just start researching it. Like I want to understand mental illness for one of my other books. Well, I wanted to understand addiction better, and I started researching. And for me as a creative, I work out things through writing stories. And so this one is about that. And, the more I research and the more I've been talking about this book, almost every family is affected by it. And so I felt like, there's a pretty big need to discuss addiction and open the conversation for people to talk about it.
Yeah, because the thing about addiction, a lot of people I've learned look down on people that has addiction and things they struggle with.
Yeah.
But I found them to be like the best people in the world. They help you do anything. They help you. I mean,
Yes.
whatever. I mean,
hmm
it's got this closet thing going on that they're dealing with, but they're kind-hearted people. Everybody that's addicted is not bad people.
Yeah. And I don't know too, but I feel like if you educate yourself on something, you understand what that person's going through and maybe have more empathy for someone that's going through something. If we don't educate ourselves about it, we're ignorant. And a lot of times we act in ignorance with how we treat people. And so I'm with you on that. Some of the best people I know has my loved one who passed away due to drugs. She would give you the shirt off her back. She loved the Lord. She just fell into a bad spot in life. My grandfather was an alcoholic, but that man would do anything in the world for you. And so I just hope that people can read this book or, talk about it, be able to share their stories with others. A lot of times, and I think that's the best thing is when I write these stories and it's a book, it's a work of fiction south of somewhere. It opens the door for people to just share their true stories. And so many times at my book events, I'd say at least 10% so far this year of the group, of the crowd that will be at an event, at least 10% will come up to me and tell me their personal struggles with loved ones with addiction. So I think that's important to be able to talk about it.
Yeah, it is. It is. So you chose to explore topics many people in faith communities avoid talking about openly. What do you think addiction and mental health are still so stigmatized in like the Christian space?
hmm I think it's because I think we've got something wrong. And that's we give our life over to Jesus and all of a sudden everything's perfect and we're perfect, but we'll never be perfect. If that was the case, Jesus would have never had to come and die for our sins, right? And there's a Matthew West song that talks about the church should look more like a hospital. We should be able to go there and share our struggles and be ministered to. And I don't know why. And I'll do it. We could have a bad time before we go to church on Sunday, but as soon as you get there, what do? You put on your smile and you're like, "Oh, everything's just great and wonderful." But, you just had a mess at the house. And I don't know why we feel like, as a Christian that I've got to put on this happy face and, everything's perfect, but it's not. And I don't know about you, but that's not relatable to me. And if you read your Bible, the whole book is filled with very imperfect people. And I relate to them so much. And I'm just so grateful that God knew that we needed those examples to show us, yeah, you can make a mess, but I can still do something wonderful with your life.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember one time at our church back home in South Carolina, we had a called a BAM ministry. It's called Be a Man. And we
Oh,
would
okay.
lock these men, we'll go into the back. Like you couldn't do choir rehearsal that week or nothing because it was sacred. And
Uh-huh.
it was just men. They was just opening it up about addiction, infidelity, all the stuff. And most of these men had careers. They had all the stuff going on, but they had these other demons they was wrestling with.
Hmm.
And we would go in this room and we would talk and we would minister. We would talk through it. And next thing I know, they were going to work, bringing people that weren't members to the church saying,
Uh-huh.
"Hey, man, you got to go to this Be a Man thing on
Oh,
Tuesday
wow.
night." And
Uh-huh.
everybody was just emptying out. It was a safe place. And I think when people feel safe in their addictions or what they're going through,
Hmm.
that actually helps going down the road of healing. Because a
Yes.
lot of them really healed from their things they was wrestling with
Hmm.
because they felt safe, even open up and talk to somebody. Because
Hmm.
when you a career driven guy, you making the money, you're not gonna really open up nobody. The bank account look
No.
good and everything else
Uh-huh.
looks good. You're not gonna do it until you get into that certain place. And it was a healing place. I was real proud of that.
Yeah, I bet so. We need more of that.
Yeah.
And it's not, and I don't want to say that, oh, we need that just so we can say, yeah, I'm imperfect. Just be able to go somewhere and get the support and someone, just be able to talk about things and get support and be able to get on a path of healing. So, yeah, every church should have that going on.
Yeah. I think they need to be, a little transparent in church and then not
Mhm.
just, preaching the gospel on Sunday morning and think everybody's okay when they walk out the door.
Yeah.
You have to understand that kind of stuff. So,
Mhm.
Ti, how do faith and addiction collide in real life, and what have you learned about grace through writing this story?
From personal experience, my loved one, from what we live with her, she was, she had a heart for God, and I know she was a believer. She got had a knee injury, and it started from there. And and this was back in the late '90s, where they were handing out prescription drugs like candy in the doctor's office, and it's escalated from there. And then, as you know, there was a lot of rules put on doctors writing these prescriptions. Well, just because they cut those prescriptions off to their patients didn't mean that the patients were all of a sudden, okay, I'm cured. I'm not addicted to needing this pain pill anymore. So what did they have to do? They turned to street drugs. And it's just a downhill spiral from there. And I witnessed that with my own two eyes. And I just feel like, and I tried to show my loved one grace. I tried to hard love my loved one, hoping that they would go to rehab, and it was a struggle for the whole family. And I learned from watching her over the years and being in this situation with her and her struggles and her poor decisions. I know that she loved God and she loved Jesus and believed that he was her Lord and Savior, but she still had to struggle. And the last few years, it had gotten really bad. And I remember my daily prayer was, God, don't let Satan have her. And we are 3 years out from losing her. And then I think maybe that was God answering my prayer. He has her now. She's no longer in this world fighting Satan and this addiction. And I just wish I wish that she could come back here for my sake, just because if she was here today, I would just love on her where she was at. And it taught me from losing her that even though I might not agree with someone and what they're going through, and they can know that I don't agree with maybe a lifestyle or whatnot, but I can still love them where they're at. And so that's the grace that I've learned through this experience. And
Absolutely.
isn't that what grace is anyway? Loving someone even though they don't deserve it?
That's
Because
what,
that's what Jesus did for us, right?
absolutely. He does it every day. He
Every
does it
day.
every day. So,
Mhm.
Ti, what's one misconception people have about addiction that you wish the world would stop believing?
No drug addict, no alcoholic woke up one morning and said, "This is the day I want to ruin my life. I want to take this one pill. I want to smoke this one joint. I want to have this one drink and just ruin my life." Wasn't a choice almost. Like, they made a choice to try that pill or try that drug or try that alcohol. Not everybody has the addiction gene, so to speak. I can take something and leave it. It doesn't affect me that way. Now, if you put a piece of chocolate cake in front of me, I'm going to want the whole cake. And I know that's just a taste of what addiction is. I have a huge sweet tooth, but I have never had a struggle where I would, crave an alcoholic beverage or I can't live without something. My husband put it in a way he heard, and then I ended up incorporating in the book. He said, "What if you were told today is the last day you can pick this phone up? Your cell phone. You have to put it down and not pick it up. How hard would that be?" And I forgot it is a crazy number of how many times an average person picks their phone up in a day. And that is what an addict feels like about wanting to pick up a drink. They're constantly thinking about, oh, how we constantly think, I need to check my phone. They're constantly thinking, oh, I need a drink or I need a pill or whatever it is. And so I think the misconception is we think they could just put it down and never pick it back up, and it's not the case. It's not that easy for them.
Yeah, the cell phone is one of the most addictive things. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter where you go. I can be in the airport at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I see someone on the phone like, "Who are you really like texting at 3 o'clock in the morning?" It's like, what in the
Yeah.
world, you know? And
Mhm.
it's crazy, but that's a good way to put it.
Mhm.
So, do you believe broken people can fully heal, or do they learn how to carry their scars differently?
I am of the mindset that we'll never be completely healed of anything in this world. Well, we'll never be perfect in this world. There will be a day after we take our last breath here if we're believers, right? I do feel like we manage our scars. We can manage our scars better. And just like you said with that support group, that's a way with the men's group that they could carry their scars in a more healthier way, work on healing. What do you think about that?
I think it's a process.
Yes.
I really think it's a process. I
Mhm.
don't think it just doesn't.
Sure won't happen overnight, will it?
Yeah, overnight. You have to find people that you can trust and that can coach you and
Mhm.
and get counseling or whatever the case may be. Spending
Mhm.
more time with God, whatever works.
Yeah.
But I think it's definitely a process, and you have to
Mhm.
change your habits
Yes.
every day.
Mhm.
I think you change up your habits and do stuff differently. That'll help. But if anybody listening right now, and you and I both agree, don't get discouraged in what you're trying to change in your life. It's a process. You just got to work it.
Yes, and there's gonna be days where you fall down and you just gotta pick yourself up and try again. I've always struggled with my weight, and the older I've got, I just turned 50 last week, and
Happy
I have learned a
birthday.
lot in my 50. Thank you. I have learned a lot in my 50 years, and that is you got to give yourself grace too. This whole it's all or nothing doesn't work. Like, there's been times in my life where I've been all in for weight loss, eating healthy, exercise, but as soon as I mess up one time, I'm going way back in the other direction, but it don't work that way. One day I might have this piece of chocolate cake, and that's fine. Just the next day, don't have cake. So it is a process. And even if you slip up, that's not the end of the world. So South Carolina's motto is actually, while I breathe, I hope. And I carried that theme throughout the whole book. And I really believe it. As long as there's breath in our body, we still have hope. Don't give up.
Yes. Well, but Well put.
Mhm.
So, T.I., your stories carry so much humanity and hope. Have you personally witnessed storytelling help someone heal emotionally or spiritually?
Oh my gosh. I think, Reggie, that's the biggest. Can I call you Reggie?
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
called you
My,
Reggie.
my friends call me Reggie, so
Okay, well, we're
we're
friends,
friends. Yeah,
right?
we're friends.
That is the biggest gift that God has given me in the past. I've been writing since 2014. So how many years is that? Oh my gosh. I done put myself on the spot to do math. 12 years? Yeah, 12 years now. And the biggest gift in that is, I'm writing fiction stories, totally made up, make believe stories. They might be based on real issues or whatnot. But the biggest gift is when I receive an email or someone shows up at my event and they said, I've been going through this struggle in my life and I quit going to church. I felt like God turned his back on me. She says, or, he or she, there's been times and they said, but reading your story showed me that we all are there and that it's just life and I shouldn't be blaming God for this. And I've gone back to church or I didn't feel worthy enough to be in church because I'm going through this situation. But you showed me I need to go to church. I can still go to church anyway. One of the biggest impactful emails I have ever received, it was early on in my career, and it was in a time where I was questioning whether, I was good enough to do this. I feel like I'm just a Southern storyteller. I don't have any educational background on writing. And I received an email. She said, the young woman said, I just wanted you to know that I don't sleep well at night. And she said, your story got me through the night last night. I was like, "Oh, wow." And then the next paragraph, she went on to explain that she was sold into human trafficking at age 6 by her mother for drugs, and that she was rescued out of that world only a few years before she emailed me. She was actually living in a home that has been created for women that are rescued out of human trafficking. And it was very humbling for her to share that with me. I mean, she has lived this atrocious nightmare of a life. And she said that my humble words in a book helped her. And I was like, oh, wow. And so after that, I'm like, no matter how plain speaking my books are, or whatnot, even if they don't sell, millions of copies or whatnot, if it sold one copy to someone like this young lady and it helped her, that's what it's all about.
Yes, exactly. And a lot of times it doesn't take education. Sometimes it just take the anointing,
Hmm.
and that's what you got.
Well, thank you. I believe so too, because I was like, it's all God when things like this happen.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, for someone listening right now who feels ashamed of their past, what would you want them to know, Ti?
We all have a past, and I mean, there's things in my past I'm ashamed of, but God forgave me for my past. I asked God today to forgive me for any sins that I have committed, and He is faithful to grant that. And we need to forgive ourselves too. And I think that's the biggest takeaway is we are typically hardest on ourselves, but God gives us grace when we ask Him for forgiveness, and we need to give that to ourselves as well.
Yes, because that's why Jesus had to down the cross, and then now that's why they say you got brand new mercies every morning.
That's right.
No matter what you did last night, the day before, whatever, the next morning you get up, you
Hmm.
got brand new mercies.
Yeah.
So, Ti, I want to talk about this. You're writing these heavy stories like this.
Hmm.
How do you protect your own mental and emotional well-being? Because I know it has to be something inside of you that just get you just triggered or emotionally while you're doing this.
It does. There's some really heavy writing days. And one of my dear friends and mentor, Tia, I'll talk to her about the heavier parts of a story. And I'll never forget there was one day, so Under the Magnolia, it was about 3 books ago. It's about mental illness. And there were some pretty heavy writing days. And I was explaining it to her, and she said, Tanya, today you need to step away from the heaviness of that story for your own sake. She said, today needs to be a light writing day, something fun. And I have learned and leaned on, and I think about my readers when I do this too, is there might be a very heavy chapter, but then I'm going to incorporate some humor along the way. And I have to do that for myself too. I don't know about you, but life is heavy. And the best way to get through it is laughter. And so I'll cut jokes, even real life, probably, and very serious times, but that's my way of coping. And I remember there's a funeral home scene in Under the Magnolias, and I won't give it away because it was pretty hilarious. And I remember writing it, laughing myself. And my readers have told me that was one of their favorite scenes, and it made them laugh. And so, laughter is definitely good medicine.
It is, absolutely. And the thing you're just saying, when you have a burden or you're carrying people in your heart and on your shoulders, I did this a lot in doing outreach ministry.
I
See a
bet.
lot of people, all different walks of life, and I would come home, man. Sometimes I would just like cry. You know, I mean, it's like it's just heavy, man. Like, God, it shouldn't be this way, you know, and things like that. And I feel like sometimes me, my team, we're not doing enough, but it's only so much you can do at some moments. You
Mhm.
see what I'm saying? So I understand what you're saying.
How do you deal and cope in the heavier moments?
Well, a lot of times I would pray, I would meditate, you know, I would go into gratitude because I feel like if I had the opportunity or God presented the opportunity to me to run into this person, it was for a reason.
Yeah.
The purpose part of it keeps me going. You know,
Mhm.
it just keeps me going. Even though the outcome may not be like you want it to be at the moment, but you keep working at it, you keep doing it, and you keep trusting God, and then He'll make a way at the end of the day.
Yep. Mhm. It's a lot about our attitudes on things too. My friend, she was in a heavier spot in her life a while back, and I've been through some heavy seasons recently too. And she says, I have to do this and I have to do that. And this is coming up and I have to do it. And I said, yeah, I've been there. There's a lot of have tos. I said, but, I started thinking about there's one word. If we change one word in there, it makes a whole difference. Instead of I have to, I get to. I get to write. I get to share these heavier stories, and just changing your attitude on it a lot, I think helps.
Yeah, it does. I mean, the whole approach changes. You know, how
Mhm.
you look at the day, how you look at the moment is
Yeah.
when you change, the attitude in your mind, to a
Mhm.
positive state instead of some state that's going to be negative or something that you may not can accomplish, which will make you feel bad when,
Yep.
said and done. And go back to it. I think that, I don't know, I think that what really drives me or what drove me and all the work that God allowed me to do,
Mhm.
been remarkable work on the outreach side of things.
Mhm.
But I come from a generation of pastors, preachers, and all of that, my whole family.
Mhm.
But one guy who changed my mind is when I sat down with a homeless guy in downtown Greenville on Main Street. And he was a homeless Vietnam veteran.
Oh,
And
wow.
I went to talk to him and I fed him and we just had a conversation and he blew my mind. Changed the whole way I look at things. I mean, he blew my mind. I thought everything I've heard growing up in the church.
Uh-huh.
That one angel on that bench. Now he may not look like an angel to everybody else, and that's what you got to be careful with when you're
Yep.
out there. They may not look like an angel like you think in your mind, but it could be
Mhm.
an angel right there sitting in front of you. Even though they're dirty, they may be looking just like not like you, not like regular people. But there's
Mhm.
an angel sitting right there. You just got to take the time and figure it out.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yep. So, do you think people sometimes misunderstand what grace actually looks like?
I think so. So, as described, grace is there's a saying, I could probably rattle it off if I weren't trying to tell you about grace, but a preacher said it one time in our pastor, and it really stuck with me. And it's about grace is what God gives you, even though you don't deserve it,
Hmm.
and mercy. No, grace is what God doesn't give you, even though you deserve it. And
Right.
mercy is what God gives you, even though you do deserve. Oh, I'm messing the whole thing up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
I got
messing
you.
up. Can you translate my gibberish on what
But
I was meaning?
grace is something that you don't deserve, but the God gives it to
Yes.
you anyway, you
Yes.
know.
Mhm.
And grace and mercy, I think, comes in one thing. They're together.
Mhm.
You know,
Yes.
we don't deserve either one of them. We go out here, we
Mhm.
do things that's detrimental to our life. Some people, I hear testimonies and they tell me these testimonies. I'm like, God, man, you should have been dead.
Yeah.
When you're telling you about it, and it's just
Mhm.
grace and mercy, and that's what they will always say. Grace and mercy carried me through. You know,
Mhm.
and that's what it is. We didn't deserve it. We
Mhm.
we try to do our own self, but thank
Mhm.
God for Jesus and the blood,
Yeah.
you know.
And the thing with grace and mercy, I don't think you can earn it. And even person to person, if it's done right, you give grace and mercy to someone that doesn't deserve it, and vice versa. And so I think, God gives us grace and mercy we don't deserve, and we should try to do the same for people. Don't you agree?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You have to. You can't give something and don't give it back.
That's right.
You can't. You start
Mhm.
walking that life. You talking about grace and mercy. Then somebody do something, then you don't give them grace, and they go like,
Yeah.
"Well,
Well, they
okay,
don't
then."
deserve it,
Yeah, right,
I
right,
popped off, well, they sure don't deserve it.
right. Yeah,
And
that's
then
not
you
I
stop
call.
yourself like, "Oh, I don't deserve anything either."
Right, exactly. So, Ti, if someone listening today feels stuck in addiction, grief, shame, or hopelessness, what would you say directly to them right now?
Oh gosh, I'd wanna give them a big hug first, and I'd tell them I'm sorry. I'm sorry that they're even dealing with it. I hate that it's something that I can't take away from somebody. I'm a do, let's go, get it done kind of girl. I'm a fixer. I want to fix things. And, I've learned there's some things that I can't fix. But I would say, reach out and get help. And there's all kinds of support groups through churches. Oh my gosh. I looked up when I was doing research for South of Somewhere, the AA meetings and all the different kinds. There's open meetings, closed meetings, there's online meetings. There's plenty of help out there. Just, put yourself first and reach out and get some help. You deserve the help. You deserve another chance. And there's so many resources. You just got to take that first step and reach out for help. And
Yeah.
like you said, find people that you trust and reach out to them.
Yes, exactly. And then at the end of the day, believe that you can
Mhm.
and want to change. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
you want to change.
Yeah.
So to think about it, you said something. You said that you're a fixer.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things my wife always know that's how I am.
Yeah.
I'm a fixer. And when I
Mhm.
can't fix something, I go like I can't my mind just go crazy. And a lot of
Yeah.
times it's not my fight. I know it's like over my head, but I'm in leadership. So with my team, I fix stuff. I come home, my
Mhm.
grandkids need this, something happened by my kids, whatever. I just fix it.
Uh-huh.
But when it comes down to it, when you can't really fix it, it just drives me nuts.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
So Ti,
And that's
I
where
have
you just gotta give it over to God. Say, I can't do it. I want to. Yeah.
yeah, I know it. I said I'm driving myself crazy right now. I said, God, it's in your hands now.
Mhm.
I'm done.
Yep.
Moving on to the next. so
Mhm.
so Ti, I have what I call quick fire questions.
Uh-oh. Okay.
It's not a right or wrong answer. It's just whatever you throw out there. What's one word that describes hope? Or more than one. Doesn't matter.
That describes who? Oh my gosh. I done told you I'm 50 years old. I got a 50-year-old brain, and you want me to respond fast.
Hmm, no, I'll wait.
Hope. What's one word you would describe hope? And then I'll answer after you.
Okay. God.
Let's see how quick your brain, huh?
God.
God. Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, that was a no-brainer, and I couldn't even think of it. Yeah, for sure. God,
Yep. Absolutely.
faith, yeah, hope, right there.
Is there a book out there that changed your life?
Besides the Bible definitely changed my life for sure. I would say "Redeeming Love" by Francine Rivers. That book is based off of Hosea, the story in the Bible about Hosea, and that changed my life because it showed me through fiction that you can demonstrate God's love and it show the imperfections of humans, but how perfect God is in using them.
Got it. So Ti, what keeps your faith strong during hard seasons?
I tell you, and I've been through some hard seasons, as everybody has. I've had some really devastating losses, and I don't know how people get through it without God. I'll be mad, and I feel like, and I think more so that, that I'm a parent, that I feel like I want my children to come to me with anything that's burdening them. And it's really helped me understand that that's how God is too. So I might be mad about something and I'll question, like, why am I going through this? What is the reasoning from this? And I have learned that if I stay faithful in asking God and going to God with these issues and these problems and these hard seasons of life, it may take years out from that devastating time, but it's amazing to look back and see God working through it. And every single time I can see Him with me throughout whatever the hard season of life is. And, I just lost my mother in law and know He's with us and we're going to be okay. And that is such a comfort knowing that He is there no matter what's going on.
Yes. And you said something, I'm going to back up on that. You was talking about kids being free to come to you with anything they're going through.
Mhm.
Now, you from the South and I'm from the South in,
Yeah.
in the same state.
Uh-huh.
Back in the day, we really, really have a voice like we do today. My grandparents and my parents, like, hey, it is what it is.
Mhm.
You get over it and do what you got to do. Feelings don't matter. So they want what they want,
Uh-huh.
but I've learned through now having kids, grandkids, is that when you open up like that, that's the most powerful thing you can do, especially in this time in the world. It's so
Mhm.
much stuff that they can reach out to comfort them. And as a parent, if you don't open up and try to understand where they're coming from and try to teach it in a logical way and try to be supportive, then, 9 times 10, the world going to end up raising your kids.
Yes, exactly. And, I grew up in time we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have online, we didn't have social media. But, I'm from the old school Southern family where, my parents said it's my way or the highway. And, suck it up if you're having a bad day. Oh, well. And I'm not saying their way was wrong, but I know, just like you said, if I don't have my doors, so to speak, open for my children to come to me with whatever's going on, it's just like you said, they're going to go find it somewhere else. And I don't agree with what the world is showing kids. So I want them to come to me, good or bad. And around here, we call ourselves Team Lowe. And a few years ago, my son, he made decisions that he knew we weren't going to be thrilled about. I'm like, we're still a team. You come to us. No one, the world's not going to have your back. Your family, your team's going to have your back. Come to me no matter what. And I really feel like there's nothing they could do to lose my love for them. I might, become disappointed or there's times where we don't like each other very much, but there's nothing they could do to lose my love. And it's so reflective of our Savior. There's nothing we could do to lose the love that He has for us. So we just got to keep turning back to Him no matter what we've done, no matter what we're going through. Just go to Him with it.
Yes. Through it all, family over everything. Through it all,
Yes.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
so it's all said, done. So
Yep.
finish the sentence. Healing begins when.
Healing begins when you accept the wound. I think we run from things. I think we don't want to face it. We could be bleeding out. And we're like, I'm not dealing with it today. Just put a patch on it and it's seeping down your arm and whatnot. But I think, you got to acknowledge the wounds and then you can start healing.
That's it. So lastly, T.I., how can listeners connect with you, purchase your book, or follow your journey?
Well, I'm online, tilow.com. Easy to find me. Social media, I enjoy Instagram. It's I'm a short and sweet to the point kind of person on social media. I don't know about you. I like to be able to go there and I see what's going on in people's lives and it's easy to keep up. And so I enjoy Instagram. And wherever books are sold, I always encourage my readers to seek out their small independent bookstores. We want to support the small businesses as much as possible, but I'm also anywhere online that sells books. You can find me.
There you have it. T.I. Lowe. T.I., thank you so much for being on the show today. You are
Well, thank you
remarkable.
for having me. Oh, no, I don't know about that.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just an old Southern girl that likes to run my mouth.
Well, we got something to comment there.
I really enjoyed talking to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for listening to Real Talk with Reginald D. If you enjoy listening to Real Talk with Reginald D, please rate and review on Apple Podcasts. See you next time.